Good afternoon, and welcome to another timely episode of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your timorous and time-worn host, Voice of Doom. All right. I figure big news happened over the last few hours, and most of the people copying me haven't gotten around to making a diatribe yet, or making a video. So since my diatribes take about as long as they are to make, then I don't have to worry about them being ahead of me. All right. Now, I've said it once and I've said it 1,000 times. When things start happening, they're going to happen fast. And it looks like 2026 is going to start off with a bang. And I don't think that the banging or explosions are going to stop anytime soon. All right. Now, we've had administrations in this here United States that say they're going to do things. And they make overtures, and they make pontifications, and they make threats, and they make negotiations, and they make ultimatums, and nothing ever gets done about anything. Because they're politicians, and they just tread the thin line of playing to the powers that be and trying to make it look like they're helping people. But nothing ever gets done. Okay. Now, this Orangey character is a breed of a different cat. And when he says he's going to do something, it's going to be done sooner or later, but sometimes it's sooner than later. Now, we've heard over the last few months, and we've seen forces of the U.S. gathering around the region of Venezuela, thinking it's intimidation and make a point and negotiate something, whatever. And everybody talks about, well, imperialism taking over. We can't just bomb the hell out of Venezuela. It'll be a long, prolonged war. The war started yesterday evening and ended at 2 a.m. today, and we bombed a major military outpost in Caracas, and we took, Nicolas Maduro and his wife and brought him to the U.S. to stand trial in less than 12 hours. And you get the news, and you don't know anything until Orangey gets up to the podium, and first thing he does is does a long list of his accolades of everything he's accomplished in a year, because that's the way Orangey is. He's a narcissist. So he lays out all of his accomplishments, and then he says, point blank, we took over Venezuela, and we will run that country until it's fit to run itself. And we will take their resources, and we will make money off their resources, and we will dole it out to those who have been plundered. The oil companies that were nationalized by Venezuela, the people who have been oppressed by the Venezuelan regime. Now, Pearl Harbor started in December 7th, 1941. And we didn't end it until 1945, at which time MacArthur started a whole new country system in 5 or 6 hours on his plane ride over to Japan. He took a piece of paper out and said, this is how Japan's going to be for the next few years until they can do it themselves. And the rest is history. And a lot of the Japanese indigenous people were very happy to have MacArthur there, including one of my mentors in the Buddhist organization, who considered MacArthur to be a godsend in the Buddhist sense of the tradition. I'm saying that because it took 4 years. Orangey took Venezuela in 4 hours, basically, because they weren't in any position to fight us, and he wasn't going to pussyfoot around. Now, he's overtly saying we are taking the country until they can do it themselves, and we're not going to give it up until they're in a position to have the old country that they once had. All right, so this is unprecedented. And when I said things are going to happen fast, I had no idea that by fast it's like 4 hours. But here's what's going to happen as a result of that particular military incursion, takeover, and complete domination and, the invasion and defeat of Venezuela. Other leaders around the world are going to look at that as a reason for them to do what they want to do. So you see, over the next 2 or 3 months, the whole world will be at war, and I'll tell you why. Orangey said that Venezuela was a threat to our national security, and that the leader of the regime was an illegitimate leader who was a criminal, who was trafficking drugs to the U.S., causing untold death. And so he was indicted in the southern part of New York, and they took him and brought him there because of U.S. national interests, okay? Now, Xi Jinping happiness is going to say, in our national interest, we want Taiwan because it's geographically our area. And Putin is going to say it's in our national interest to end this Ukrainian war in any way we can. And who knows what the national interests of Israel are, but it could be, if Orangey can take Venezuela, maybe we can take Lebanon because they've been a pain in our ass for years. Maybe we can take Syria because they've been a pain in our ass. And at the same time, Iran is falling apart because the people are finally rising up and saying we're sick of this crap. And it's going to get so strong because instead of the last time they had a Arab Spring or whatever the hell, Persian rug, Obama, the first half-white president, did not do anything to help them. Orangey's helping. He's saying outright, I'm going to arm the rebels in Iran any way I can. I'm going to arm the uprising. And so the Khomeini's days are numbered. Best thing they can do is do just like the Shah did and leave quickly in a plane to Tunisia or wherever they go. Because they're done. Okay, so that's the reason why things happen fast, is because this Orangey guy got the Venezuelan thing done. Nobody thought he was going to do anything, because presidents don't ever do anything. Now, there's other peripheral things going on. People are getting sick and tired of hearing about the plundering and no accountability of the no-account Somalians who took a lot of accounts and made up a lot of accounts to take billions, and they still have the billions because we're loath to prosecute anybody who's oppressed for fear of being called racist. So that's happening at the same time. People are getting sick and tired of hearing about the billions and no accountability. And other people are using their little chat GBTs to figure out exactly when the end of the world's coming, and the AI says soon. They said first there's going to be war, then there's going to be a pandemic, then there's going to be an EMP, and then there's going to be mass social disorder in the next 4 months. That's what AI says if you ask it. So I said a lot in 10 minutes. I don't have to make this a long one. I just want to be the first one on my block to comment on Orangey's major escapade. I don't think people realize they're just going to ignore this. This is overt imperialism. And I'm all for it. I think we should have taken everything down to the Tierra del Fuego a long time ago. Because they're not functioning. They're just corrupt banana republics. So there's a certain time and place when you just say, look, enough's enough, we're taking it, we're just not even going to fool around. And it took 4 hours. So everybody better think about that, about how fast things are going to happen. I'm pretty much resigned myself to just riding out, keeping the job I have until everything falls apart, because it's going to fall apart. All businesses will be shut down probably by May or June. So we'll see what happens, but when things start happening, they're going to happen fast. Every day. It's only January 3rd. January 1st, we're all hungover. We don't want to do anything. January 2nd is kind of like, let's get ready. It's a Friday, though, so the weekend's coming up. By January 3rd, the whole world's changed. And people don't think so, but it has. You better look at the fine print. 4 hours it took him to take the damn leaders of the Venezuela, bring them to New York, obliterate a major military installation, and take over the country and say we're going to keep it until further notice. That's unprecedented. Come on. Get it together and realize that we're getting close. You don't need me anymore to tell you anything. I just wanted to make a few random comments about why it's going to lead to a domino effect. All these other leaders are going to use our rationale as their own. And besides the fact, I got to mention that if we're busy trying to secure Venezuela with our military, then we're being distracted from the South China Sea and Ukraine and Kyiv and Moscow and wherever, Lebanon, Gaza. So it's going to be really happening fast. The news will happen so fast people can't keep up with it. They're just going to hide under their beds and hope it all goes away. So that's it. I'll talk to you later. Bye.